So the usual good news, bad news, as Scream is returning after an incredibly successful re-entry at the early part of the year. Joker 2 is coming, and the next installment of Scream is coming. While we all know Joaquin Phoenix will probably be playing Joker again, Sydney will not be returning, at least for this version of Scream and the next installment, because Neve Campbell is not going to be in it. They made her an offer, but she doesn't think it was that good, so she's refusing the role, and they're going to move on without her. Brings up a lot of questions in terms of where the story is going, but why certain characters and certain actors are so critical to the story that you have to use those particular actors and have those particular characters, but not others. And we also have the recent success of Kenobi, which presumably will be getting a second season. And if they do come back, I think we all know that if they're going to do Kenobi season 2, they have to use Ewan McGregor. They could replace him, right? We could get another person besides McGregor, but I think most fans are attached to this version of Kenobi played by him. So if you have to pay him a whole lot of money, well, that's what you got to do. And that's relevant because a lot of people were complaining about the production value of Kenobi. Now, I liked Kenobi a lot, but it did look pretty cheap in a lot of ways, but we can all do the math. Given the amount of the budget, given how much they have to spend per episode, given that he's a producer, we can pretty much guess that he just got a really, really good, healthy paycheck out of the whole thing. A lot of the budget was devoted just to paying him. But again, it seemed successful, it seemed to work for Disney Plus, so Disney's not unhappy and he's going to move forward. So what's going on with Sydney? Well, we don't know the details of the negotiations, but presumably it is about the money and that Neve just didn't feel like she was being compensated properly for what she contributed to the Scream franchise. And I have to be honest, while I kind of agree in principle, there are some issues. For instance, with Multiverse of Madness, I didn't really like Elizabeth Olsen in the role of Wanda for the most part in the MCU, but with Multiverse of Madness and Strange, I found her pretty compelling and I liked her a lot. Now, I'm not going to try to spoil Multiverse of Madness, although it's pretty obvious what happened, but let's just say the ending seemed to close out her story and it seemed like they were moving forward without Wanda, but now there's rumors that they're going to bring her back in another Wanda project. And given how Strange ended, and given now that we literally have a multiverse, it's in the very title, they don't really need to use Elizabeth Olsen, and as I say, I'm not exactly a big fan of her interpretation. Nevertheless, if they did the Wanda project, I would agree that, at least for a while more, they probably should use Elizabeth Olsen, because she did a really good job with Multiverse of Madness. So even though I didn't like her version of Wanda in the other films, this version of Wanda seemed very intriguing, so let's continue that story. But with Neve Campbell, again, it's sometimes just dumb luck that some actors really define the role. And when they define the role, whether Joaquin Phoenix with Joker, right, Ewan McGregor with Kenobi, so on and so forth, fans think of the character and they think of that actor and that actor only. Of course, as a practical business, you can't always use that actor, and we kind of know that, right? Other people do play Kenobi, other people play Darth Maul, other people have obviously played Joker and or the Batman, but we have a certain version of that character, and when that version is being played, we want that particular actor. We don't want any other actor. We only want that actor, and that's just how it goes. And you have to be brutal and frank that while Sydney was very critical to the early part of the Scream mythology, she's not critical as the story progresses. In fact, this is a weird fictional universe where even the lead female protagonist can be, well, not present. Nobody panics and nobody cares because we realize, well, yeah, Sydney disappearing or being away for a while makes sense within that fictional universe. Really, the structure of Scream is about the killer and the killer hunting certain victims. I mean, the antagonist actually changes their identity quite a few times. So all we need is somebody playing the ghost face and hunting a certain amount of victims. We don't really need this particular female protagonist. They can change that. So it is kind of apples and oranges because at the end of the day, like with the MCU, they really can't replace Captain America and or Iron Man, though they're about to do that and we'll see how that goes. But push comes to shove, you can kind of replace the Hulk actor with another Hulk actor. You can replace the Hulk with another version of the Hulk. Most of the audience doesn't care. They even replaced War Machine outright. They had a different black actor. And most MCU fans don't care or even notice. I mean, I notice these things because, again, I'm trying to do this professionally, be paid good money for it. So I have to tell you, unfortunately, that yeah, Iron Man's father was played by different people, Thanos was played by different people, and even the Red Skull was played by different people. But most of the MCU fans probably don't even notice or even care about these changes. And they're like, it's different actors? And the answer is, yeah, it's different actors. So, again, like it or not, some people are replaceable. So I do hope Neve and the producers work it out and she does come back. Although I do think Neve Campbell is a much better actress, and I prefer her and her role over Wanda and Elizabeth Olsen. Again, she was very compelling in Multiverse of Madness. Multiverse of Madness was a big hit, so it's not rocket science. You're going to have to pay her to bring her back as Wanda. You're going to have to pay Joaquin Phoenix a lot of money to come back as the Joker because, again, he did a good job. I have my issues with Joker, but I got to agree, the central lead performance was very compelling and very interesting. Even if Joker as a whole didn't work for me as a film and had a lot of issues, I don't dispute that the central performance was very interesting and very charismatic. So if you want that version of the Joker, I think you'd have to agree that, yeah, Joaquin earned his money, and if you have to pay him more money, so be it. He was critical to it being a massive success, so he earns his paycheck. But like it or not, Sydney was only critical to the early part of Scream. She's not really critical as the story goes forward. It's nice that she came back, but she's not super critical. And I understand from Nev's perspective, she's selling herself as super critical, but unfortunately, it's not true. Hopefully, Joker 2, as well as the next version of Scream, will work out and fans will love it. But you got to be honest, I don't know if they can move forward with Joker, at least that version of Joker, without Joaquin. But can they move forward without that version of Sydney? Yeah, probably. It is like a Hulk situation that a lot of fans will be sorry she's not there, but a lot of other fans will not notice or even care, unfortunately.